right here was an awful game. It was an absolute awful game. However, did you guys see the viewership? Did you guys see the viewership for this game? This viewership was crazy. The Indiana Fever's matchup on Friday versus the Sun drew 851,000 viewers, becoming the most viewed WNBA game on ION this season, despite Caitlin Clark's absence. So, the Fever, as I expected, don't pull as many views without Caitlin Clark. They don't pull as many views without Caitlin Clark. That is a given. Everybody knows that is a given. However, they are the most popular team in the WNBA with without Caitlin Clark, which is crazy. And you know, all those Fever fans, Robin, I mean it. Fever fans, Caitlin Clark and Fever fans support the product more than anyone else and somehow get shit on it first. Come on, Robin. The only acceptable way to support the W is tweet about it and be as loud as possible, not to watch the product or spend money on it. No. The only way to support the W is to tweet out that you hate Caitlin Clark and you want to get rid of the commissioner. That is the only way. That is the only way. That's the legit way. Love this team through good and bad. Well done. Been through too many losses and wins not to watch the Fever when Caitlin Clark is out. We were seeded, even when we got our behinds beat, thought that was a guaranteed dub to lift our spirits. Yeah, I did. We're investing in the team just like Steph and the Warriors, the Bria Hartley effect. You're not wrong. Everyone's watching Bria Hartley. Fever is Ireland's team. Do people not realize that when it comes to the WNBA outside of America, I would say 95% of viewers are for the Fever, just like the Bulls in the 90s. 200k more than someone's debut game. Yeah. 200k more than Paige's debut game. Which was it the only game that was on at that time during the night? And it was in prime time. Too invested in the Fever. They hate watched. Pretty good rating. Win or lose, that's our team. We love the Fever. And that's the thing when it comes to BBALL Caitlin Clark fans. There's no question about it that it's the most loyal fan base in sport for the Indiana Fever. And I've always said this, and I stand by this. I'm only a hardcore fan of one team in sports, and it's Leeds United. It is Leeds United, as you'll see right there. As the only team I'm a fan of. I've had too much stress over Leeds United to get too stressed out over any other team. I'll watch what teams I find to be the most fun. And Caitlin Clark is the most fun player to watch in the WNBA. It's actually good. Because let's be real, Maureen Johannes just pub stomps. In a competitive setting, Maureen Johannes is not great, but she is an elite pub stomper. But yeah, it's huge. It's absolutely huge. And it's an Indiana Fever team with no Caitlin Clark as well. With no Caitlin Clark. And you better believe they're still going to pull in big viewership tonight. You're going to pull in big viewership tonight, even without Caitlin. And we saw it on NBA TV. It was it was the 10th most watched WNBA game ever on NBA TV. And it was more watched than literally any non-Caitlin Clark game. It's crazy. It's actually crazy how good the Fever fan base are in general. And if you look up WNBA most viewed ION. So if you look at games, obviously here it is from what sorry if you guys heard that. Nope. But you've even got an article here by Grant Young talking about it. I'm guessing he's just doing exactly what I'm doing, just in text form, instead of writing an article about the exact thing I'm talking about. I do want to see, is there so if you look at ION, last season they're like, oh yeah, ION averaged 670,000 viewers. But people don't realize that Caitlin Clark averaged over 1 million, and most of Caitlin Clark's games were on ION. Caitlin Clark was getting 1.2 million viewers for games on ION. But now you're looking at them pulling in. If it had 851,000 viewers, means it could very well have it very, very well could have peaked at over 1 million. It could have probably peaked at over 1 million. Like, again, last year's biggest game on Ion was the 30th of June, which peaked at 1.9 million. It was the 5th time that Ion eclipsed the 1 million mark with all 5 broadcasts involving the Fever, of course. But, like, I think it peaked at, like, 1.9 or something for this game. And there's never been a rating driver like Caitlin Clark. There is never been as much of a rating driver, in my opinion. I'm not going to say in sports, because I don't think there's in women's basketball. There's never been. Like, the last rating driver I remember like this in sport was in basketball, was Stephen Curry. LeBron is not the rating driver that Caitlin Clark is. Like, as much as people want to see LeBron and want to watch LeBron, there are not as many people. Like, the viewership of Caitlin compared to the rest that are just individually there to see her is berserk. It's absolutely berserk. Kobe was probably a bigger draw in big games. Jordan was definitely a bigger draw. I'm not comparing her to Michael Jordan. I'm not comparing Caitlin Clark's draw to Michael Jordan, because what Michael Jordan did for the sport of basketball cannot be replicated. That cannot be replicated. So I am not out here going to compare Caitlin Clark to Michael Jordan. However, like, Caitlin Clark is the biggest drawer in women's basketball by a mile. And everybody other than the WNBA wants to take advantage of it. The WNBA are doing the opposite of taking advantage of it. They're doing the very opposite. And I mean, those old WNBA fans, I mean, I understand why you're annoyed. I understand why you were annoyed. You had your old club where you can be as toxic as you want and you could still be friends with players, and you would just start Twitter spaces with 17 people involved, but 3 of the 17 were players and coaches that were in the league. And you could probably, I know this is not true, but this is a joke. It's a joke. But you can go to the stadium with your laptop and have it as a good place to chill and do some work. But that's not what it is. And someone commented, for 10 years LeBron carried NBA TV ratings. I understand LeBron carried NBA TV ratings, but like, it wasn't a case where 3 million people watched LeBron and then 200,000 people watched every other game. Not quite like that. Caitlin Clark just being there in the arena. And you've seen a bunch of the fans that are there with Caitlin Clark said, you've heard things of some fan testimonies when they're like, when they're literally like, you know what, we're going to, we're happy we showed up. We're happy that Caitlin Clark was there. And she was like, she signed autographs and we got to see her even though she didn't play. But yeah, that's pretty much it.